inside the Trend Vision area in Fiera di Vicenza with Mitria Di Giacomo, two symbols of fashion and of glamour of this moment. Mitria, so what can you tell us about Trend Vision and the theme that is mutation this time?
I think the overall theme that Trend Vision has kind of captured is what's happening in the world in terms of, evolution and change, very dynamic forces at play in terms of the environment and also our economic downfall. And what's happened is it's a restructuring and a recalibration of kind of how we're going to live and hopefully play in the future. And so what I appreciate about the overall theme of mutations is that countries and people we're all becoming much more global. We have to rethink how we want to use materials, and you can see some of those interpretation at play in the various themes that have been mapped out by Trend Vision. As an example, this particular look right here, which is kind of inspired by shadow reality, which brings in like technology. But how do you really interpret technology today? You have to kind of be influenced also by human. This high tech, high touch. I think what's going to really make it, you see it in fashion, as well, where there's designers are influenced by technology, but it's interpreted with this shadow reality, where you have the technology and an altered reality in a way, but you want the human element. So you see it, a great example here, it's kind of dark and sensual, but there's an individual style to it.
So we live in a global world because there is not difference between country and country. Well,
There is,
okay.
but you're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
So, what does it mean to be a forecaster and to understand and develop new trends today in this scenery?
Well, I think, I think what Trend Vision does beautifully, they're kind of the leader in the fine jewelry, luxury category. And as a trendsetter, they really travel the world because really on the street is where you get most of the inspiration, and especially youth. That's what happened like in the punk movement in the 70s. It was really started at a club. I live in New York City. It was started at a club downtown called BCBG. And so it was really kind of a movement against popular music, and they created their own style. So Trend Vision travels globally, looks at what's happening on the street, in clubs, and draws inspiration. But then they look at the overall, economic shifts and global movement that's happening in terms of like even in Italy right now. There's definitely some political turmoil, and that will influence kind of style, fashion, which then distills down to other categories of business. And you see it here where there's so much innovation and technology that's coming into play, like with hardware and different stones and diamonds that are sliced. Really very innovative and very interesting actually for me to be here and experience Vicenza Auto.
And which is the role in all of this? Which is the role of communication and also of celebrities? Because they're really popular and they develop also the taste of people.
Well, I mean, the celebrity factor really started during the age of MTV, and I think it's very important for a brand or a company, a house of luxury to kind of have that spokesperson, that face of the brand, because it's just aspirational. In terms of what's happening with social media and communication, this is unprecedented in terms of opportunity that companies have to really kind of shape that message to, like if you're on Facebook, you can have followers, you can have them like your page, you have fans. If you're on Twitter, you're able to really through almost like a mini blog, send information about your collection, about perhaps, a celebrity that just walked the red carpet. So you see that it's instantaneous. In a way, it's excellent because you can send out, but also here we go with technology. There's something very special that happens with the human touch to having that one-on-one. And I think the younger generation sometimes misses that because there's so much on their phones, they're kind of in their own world versus being open and having the one-on-one communication. So I think a blending of both.
So, fashion world run very fast. Which is the forecasting about Mitria Di Giacomo on the next spring, so 2014?
Well, in terms of fashion, there's a couple of, I think, some primary trends. One is kind of this 60s pop movement, very graphic shifts and just real fun shapes, almost like London in the 60s. There's also a celebration of nature, okay, which is beautiful, and you see it here also. You see some of the shapes that are inspired by nature, necklaces and bracelets that are cast with real leaves, just extraordinary, very delicate work that's inspired by nature. With fashion, that's another movement with nature, organic, a return to like more ecology, using beautiful materials. And then there's the, what I saw is kind of the ethnic inspired, very embellished, beautiful collections with jacquards and that are inspired maybe by Morocco or India, just gorgeous, layered fabrics with very embellished detail. And you see that here. And I think Trend Vision has captured it, like this Rococo chic collection with really beautiful jewels, quite rich, over the top almost, a little Liberace moment, if you will.
Thank you, Mitria. Thanks a lot. And now you have to enjoy Vincenzaro Channel and Trend Vision area forecasting.